Four, three, two, one. Hello, Allison, and welcome to the Make Life Rich Movement podcast. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me.
You guys, I really try to pack the heat with our guests, and today's episode will be no different. I think you should just pause this episode right now, grab your notebook, grab a pen, and just open your mind to thinking about the ways in which you're ready to modernize your business with some different approaches for growth and for sales and marketing. And you're going to be learning from the expert, okay? Allison Hardy. Let's just talk about her. Serial entrepreneur. I'm obsessed with you. We discussed this at length, but guys, you're about to be obsessed with her too. She is an entrepreneur and a coach, as well as a podcast host of the Six Figure Secrets podcast. Over 350 plus episodes. It's an amazing show. Also, going to get a ton of information. But Allison focuses on teaching email funnel strategies, something that we're all very aware of needing, but can kind of lack a roadmap or a real understanding of why it works, how it works, and how to make it work better. I enjoy Allison because she focuses on data as well as psychology of sales and what people want, what they're looking for, but she gives you concrete ways in which to judge what is working and what isn't, ways to increase your sales numbers, just so impressive and done in a way that is completely digestible, and you will start to implement these things pretty immediately upon learning them, depending on what way you're working with Allison. But no matter what, you're going to leave today's episode with an absolutely brand new way of thinking about email marketing, a brand new way about thinking about communicating and creating a community in an authentic manner, and learning to pivot, because Allison, you yourself and your business, it seems, have been the queen of pivot. And I would just love to jump in right there with your personal journey through to where you are right now, because you've learned along the way and become the expert because you needed to do this for yourself, which I think is always the best way to learn something. So how did it all start for you?
Yeah. So, first off, thank you very much for having me. That was a lovely introduction. So, thank you. Um, so my entrepreneurial journey started when I got laid off when I was 6 months pregnant with my now 11-year-old. I was like, great, wonderful. I had like the dream job. I went to college for a quadrillion years to like get the dream job. And then it was just like gone in a minute. And I was pregnant. It's not like I was teaching college level art. It's not like college level art jobs are common. So I couldn't find anything. And so it was like, what the heck am I going to do? My husband was a youth pastor at a church and like made like literally $0. And I was like, somebody has to make money in this relationship. How are we going to do these things? So I started a business. I had this super like side hustle of personal training. So I was like, let's like work out some more with people and like see if I can make some money at doing this. And so I was able to grow the business pretty quickly. And then people started asking me like, hey, can you just show me how you grew your business? And I was like, oh, doesn't everybody know how to do this? And they're like, no, we don't actually. Can you help us? And so I started like coaching people. And then really like I dialed in on email marketing. Email marketing had always been like a thing, but I really dialed in on it in 2020 when the world shut down. My husband was in the ordination process. And so part of the ordination process for the domination that he is a part of is that you have to do like a not church work. So he was a chaplain, and this started in February of 2020, and then March 2020 happened, and he got put in the ICU of a COVID wing, and it was like freaking bananas. He would work like 16-hour days. He would look back-to-back days, and he would come home and he'd be toasted, completely toasted, rightfully so. And then my kids came home for 18 months, and they were little. They were 2 and 6 at the time. And I was like, this isn't working. Like what I'm doing doesn't work anymore. And so I got super nerdy, and I was like, how can I still make money while like literally working like an hour a day? Cause I have no brains left to like work any more than that. And so that's where like the whole email funnel thing really came in. And I was determined to make the same amount of money I'd always made, if not more, by working less. And so that was like my mantra. And so I set the goal of like, can I sell something every single day? And then it started happening, and people started asking me, how are you doing this? And then that's where it all evolved from this point on.
It's always, to me, I've interviewed over gosh, I think 150 entrepreneurs at this point, and the majority of them truly found like their passion and their purpose by looking back on the person they were like just a few years ago and like, how did I grow away from that person? And how can I teach somebody else to grow away from that thing towards a new thing? And it's just for those listening, if there's a moment in your life where you're faced with a challenge and you're like, you know, you can either give up or you can try and get through it. And if you want any measure of success, you're going to have to try and get through it. And just like Allison said, getting nerdy and, just going back to the drawing board and figuring out what works and what doesn't, just give you a little hint. That's just like A B testing of life. And if you can get used to the A B testing of life, it's going to give you the upper hand because you can approach problems without the emotional attachment of it being like overwhelming and too much. And I love that it seems that you took that personal component of you being able to adapt, and you applied that to email marketing, which can feel very hazy and very fuzzy for people to be able to that in a funnel.
Mm-hmm.
I hear it all of the time. Like every guest I have on, the thorn in their butt is email marketing, namely a successful funnel that produces results time and time again that can be amped up and up and up. And I found so impressive that the majority of your focus just came from you trying to figure out for yourself how to get better. And I would love to know in that moment of you were focusing in on the personal training, which was like a means to an end. It was something you had
Exactly.
access to. You knew you could ramp up and do it. But when that moment came where people were kind of having these inquiries, did you get like a little bug in the back of your head where you're like, is there some, like, would I enjoy this more? Is there something to this? Like, where did that moment come for you to decide, like, okay, I'm ready to move forward with this totally left field, brand new thing that I had no intentions ever of teaching people how to do, let alone be an expert at?
Mm-hmm. I hung on to the personal training for a little bit, for sure, like years, which I probably shouldn't have done. I probably would have been farther along, but I held on to it because it was stable money. Like I knew like if I did this thing, I'll make X amount of money. And when I went into like kind of coaching and done for you, things were a little bit all over the place. And so I was like, I need this other thing to be relatively consistent so that I can do this other thing and then eventually leave that. I knew that I wanted to leave personal training uh, because I always like liked it, but I didn't love it. I knew always going into it, it was going to be a means to an end. Like I just needed to replace my $40,000 a year job. So what could I do to do that? And so I was able to do that relatively easily. I don't want to say easily, but like we were able to do that relatively okay. And it was because it was familiar and I knew it. Whereas the other stuff I didn't know as much. So I knew that I was going to get out of it eventually. But when I started having like consistent money through the business side of things, I was like, okay, I think I can actually do this now. I think I can actually say no. And so I gave myself like 2 months to like wean off of it. But then I remember like my first day of like full, like I am a business person. It was so exciting. I was so pumped because I was like, oh my gosh, I don't have to wake up at 4:15 to be at the gym at 5 to train someone and then train another person and then run the yoga class and then train another person. Like I was just off that grind. And then, oh, when am I going to eat? Right. I'm starving by 10 a.m. ready for a nap. And like, I was like, oh, life's better because
Yeah.
I've said no to the thing that wasn't lighting me up anymore. And yes to the thing that I'm actually like really nerdily excited.
I love that. And you seem like the type of individual that when you have energy, free energy, it's going to your creativity. It's going to
100%.
your like building, your exploring because you seem like someone that's learning something new every day. Was that a big part of your growth process early on in the beginning, just exploring what did you want to help people with? Like how did you narrow it down to just email funneling?
Yeah. Number one, I love white space because it allows me time to think. And I find that being a creative person, like you need the actual, like I actually schedule like thinking time. Like it's a thing on my calendar so that I'm like, okay, you're going to think during this time. Like I go on a walk and I do some other things and like it helps. Um, but I dialed in on email marketing because for me, email had already always come like fairly naturally. I was always emailing people like on my list, like when I had 20 people, when I had 10,000 people, like always emailing and just like it was just something I did. And then I realized like people had a really hard time writing those. And I was like, you have a hard time
Yeah.
writing email? That's interesting. And so I started doing it for people. And then they started getting results. And I was like, oh, I guess like I'm onto something here. It was just from that. And it was something that kind of, again, came like really naturally and felt good. And I have learned that if something feels like good in my life, especially my business, I should probably do more of that.
Mm-hmm. I love your cadence and flow in your emails. It's speaking to you now in person, it's identical, which I
Yeah.
think is extremely rare to find in an email marketing campaign, without it coming off immediately like AI conversation or overly excited or doom and gloom, scary. Oops, you better open this email because I've sent you this scare tactic. And upon engaging with one of your sales funnels, I was just like, wow, this is this is one of the first, I'll say, three marketing funnels and like journeys that I've gone through that have felt authentic immediately. You could feel a personhood through the copy that immediately put down like the like trust note out the gate. It felt like I was talking to a friend I've known for forever or a colleague that I would like brainstorm with. And it then kind of turned into me recognizing, well, like, all right, well, this is a real person. So I'm impressed right out the gate. Let's get to paragraph number 2. What's this about? Keep going. All right, we're done. Like, I love this. Like, is there a link here for me to click to look at? Oh, I forgot this was for a freebie. Well, let's start with that freebie. Click on it. I can't tell you how many times I've signed up for a freebie and that window pops up and I see something I immediately don't like. And I'm like, well, I go in, I get that email, I don't even open the freebie, I unsubscribe, I delete.
Mhm.
It
Yeah.
it's like the email maintenance and hygiene that I've gotten used to having to do. And I hear a lot of people discussing the same thing. It's like once everyone discovered they could have a link to click with something you can download and take, I think it got washed out pretty quickly.
Mhm.
And there's not really been a reckoning of there being some new approach to it until I came across your work. And then I was like, aha, this is what the industry and this literal tool in general has been needing for at least the last 3 years. I think around the time that you were developing this was right around the time that we were reaching the peak of click the link in the funnel to download and get my bubbly bar and then get this off my bubbly bar group and then bop, bop, bop. I did it myself. And in that peak, you could see that it was just very difficult to be unique and stand out unless you were a particular niche or product or something. So, in all of that being said, was there like a concerted effort for you to try and just translate who you are through your copy? And I know that may seem like, duh, Sarah, you just said that. But on a marketing level, guys, I need you to understand how difficult this is to do and to do it well. And not only well, exemplary, because you've had so many successful campaigns that I have no doubt are based off of this personhood that they're getting in this copy. So, could you talk a little bit about that? Because it is truly a talent and knack that you have.
Yeah. So I'm glad you said that the way I talk is how I write because they're voice recordings. So one of the things that I do when I write emails is I actually talk them out and then transcribe them.
Oh my God, I love you so much. Oh
So
man.
it's super helpful in like being an actual person on the other side of the screen. So there's that. And then also after I send out an email, I will look at the data and I'll be like, okay, like what is the data telling me? Did the audience open it? Did they click on it? Did it convert once they clicked? Like what are the data points that I can look at to improve what it is that I actually sent out?
Mhm.
So that's really, really important. So yeah, being like a real person, but then also like using your actual numbers to drive your decisions. And then also like interjecting personality points, I think are really important. So like I use gifts a lot because they're fun and I think they're funny.
Mm-hmm.
I always try to have like, the subject line and then you have like the preview text. Like that's, I always try, I don't always do it, but I always try to have like a personality interjection in there. I try to like, I know someone bought my membership the other day because in one of my emails I said, I'm probably sitting on the couch right now and drinking a glass of red watching The West Wing. And she was like, oh my God, I love The West Wing. And I was like, oh, let me tell you about this time I went and saw them and da da da. And like, we just like, and then she was like, by the way, I think I'm going to enroll in your membership. And I was like, okay, cool. That's great. But she was like, I'm so glad you said The West Wing because we've never had this conversation and then I wouldn't have bought
Mm-hmm.
your membership. So like,
Mm-hmm.
I really think like one of the most overthought parts of our marketing is our copy. I think if we can just break it down to like who we are and then relate, I don't want to make it sound easy, but it can, like, what if we were to make it easy? Like, what if we are like, this is going to be easy for me today?
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be a different perspective than like, oh my gosh, I have to sit down and write an email. It's a
Mm-hmm.
different energy you bring to it.
Yeah, and you really do. There's like a almost a nonchalant
Mm-hmm.
vibe that I think people want and they aspire to, but the overthinking component is big. I'm guilty of this myself, and I'm just trying to write a review, a summary of a podcast episode to send out to say, "Hey guys, new episode coming." And I think there's for some, and I'm speaking of myself and of the people I know that kind of like to work like this, but I love structure. I love a plan. I love a blueprint. And I think there are certainly programs for email marketing that you can use that are going to give you a layout. But I think even with that layout, I know you speak a lot about people being overwhelmed with options, overwhelmed with tasks and things to do, and break it down one by one. And even those that are using these email marketing platforms like Flowdesk or Constant Contact or whatever program they're leaning towards, you still have to come up with a copy. You still have to have a sales plan. You still have to have a pitch at the end that's going to convert. And I love the way that you discussed on your podcast how you go about like creating the architecture for this email funnel, and you start with the pitch. So could you just loosely break down what it looks like for you when you're figuring out the series of emails that will be received in a particular funnel when you're in that planning process?
Yeah, I always start with the pitch first. And a lot of people, and that's how I teach my membership folks to start is like, let's start with the pitch. And that's what they get access to in the very first, whenever they like immediately enroll. And so a lot of people are like, wait, what? Like, why are we starting at the end? And it's not the end. It's actually like a very important part of your funnel because you have to know what the thing is that you're selling. You have to know the offer. You have to know the client's stories. You have to know like your story. And so we map that out inside of the pitch sequence so that you can then write the emails that go up to the pitch sequence. So the emails that go up to the pitch sequence are the nurture sequence. So that gets delivered after the lead magnet before the pitch sequence. So when it comes to the nurture sequence, like we have to actually help our people. We have to actually like answer the question, what's in it for me? I think now people have like they're not buying as quickly. They need a little bit more time. They're a little bit more skeptical, probably because of the 2020 like boom of online business. And like you were saying, it's easy to click a link and then they promised all these things. And then like a lot of people didn't deliver on it. And there's just a lot of skepticism, I think, right now in the online space. So in those series of emails that lead up to the pitch sequence after the lead magnet, there needs to be something there that brings your people through a journey, brings them through some process so they know what it's like working with you, so that you can see the name of your program, so that you can actually help them, so that you can deliver maybe some mindset shifts because when they think differently, they do differently. And that helps them to identify, yes, this person is for me, or no, this person is not for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so structuring your nurture sequence in that manner, I think is a wonderful way to get people ready for your pitch, but also to educate them on your program before they even get into the pitch. So like when you actually finally do pitch them, they're like, yes, this is that thing she's been talking about. I want it. And so it's an easy yes or an easy no for people. And that's what we want to help them to do.
Oh, love that. And guys, that clear, concise description rewind it back, sit and brainstorm for a bit about what she just said, because you can get a lot of material in just breaking it down into separate sections and figuring out what needs to happen throughout that process. It can just feel overwhelming, but truly it can be simple steps. And of course, you're going to want to join and be a part of the programs we're about to jump into speaking about, because in my opinion, they're the only program that I've come across that I would ever myself enroll in or like put any kind of investment in my business for, because you're getting someone who had the ability to hit her 2024 email list goal in 8 months. Because, whoa, okay, high five, friend, high five for that one. Like the ability to first come up with a plan of how to hit a goal, period, then be tweaking it throughout those 8 months to ensure that it's hit within the 12 months, and then to blow that and complete it with an extra 4 to spare. That takes some forethought, guys. So I would love to dive very deeply into what your 2024 email list growth goal was, what your plan was, how you set it out, and then what was that thing that turned it on the dime and just took it on home in August.
Yeah. So when 2024 first happened, I set a sales goal for myself. That was like the goal. And so I reverse engineered and figured out how many people I needed inside of my membership in order to hit that goal. So then, like, you can't stop there, right? Because that's too broad. You don't know, like, how are you going to get there? So then once I knew that number, I figured out, okay, my email funnel converts at this number. So I actually need this amount of people to see my pitch sequence so that this amount of people can buy because it converts at a certain number. So then I knew the email list growth number. So I'm reverse engineering my goals. So then once I knew the email list number, I was like, okay, here we are. So if I were to spend this amount of money on Facebook ads, because my Facebook ads converted like $2 an email address. So you could 2 times whatever that number was. I was like, I can't spend that amount of money. Like, I can't do it. I can spend money on Facebook ads, but like that's going to eat into my profits like crazy. So what's the alternative? I'm still going to hit the goal. I'm always a fan of saying like, we don't change the target. We just change the way we get there. So we're still going to hit the goal, but what's a different way that we can do that? And so I landed on bundles. And I know that like everyone, whenever they hear the word bundle, like sometimes it's like, oh, you're met with like rolled eyes, but how I approach bundles is from a very like ideal client centered perspective. So who is my ideal client and what do they want? And how can I curate a list of people who serve a similar client who are not competing with me? um, and how can we all come together and serve these people in a really good way, but also like benefit from the collaboration? So I've run a couple of bundles in 2024. I think I've run 6 to be exact. And they're all centered. Like I did reoccurring revenue. That's something my ideal client wants. I did automated sales. That's something my ideal client wants. We did profitable automation. We're doing one in December called 6 Figs in 25. Like that's what my ideal client wants. So it's very like ideal client centered, and like I'm going to get ideal people into my network because these people that I'm collaborating with are ideal for these people as well. So I'm a big fan of like the rising tide lifts all boats. So like how can we together work and provide value for this audience? So that was how I like filled the gap between like how much money I could spend on Facebook ads, but still get to my goal.
Beautiful. So for those that are maybe have never opted into a bundle or they've never come across like an ad or a post for one, what exactly is a bundle?
A bundle is a collection of resources that are normally paid for, but during a very short amount of time, people come together. And when you sign up for the bundle, you can get access to the resources for free. So usually they're digital products like $47, $27, $97 digital products. And the deal is, as a consumer of the bundle, you can like pick and choose. So you can say, I want this one from the email marketing category. I want this one from the paid lead gen category. And you can like decide what you want to get access to. You could download everything. You could download one thing. It doesn't really matter. The people who are the contributors on the flip side, you get access to all of those email lists. Nope, to all of those emails to grow your email list.
Mhm.
So it's really important as a contributor that you get, if you decide like, oh, I want to try to do some bundles, that you're aligning yourself with a bundle that has a similar mission to you. So you want to make sure you're getting in front of ideal clients through like the mission, the goal, the name of the bundle. That's a really important aspect, because you and I were chatting earlier, there's a lot of bundles out there and sometimes they're super broad, they're not your ideal client. And so you could participate in them and you could maybe, get a lot of leads, but like if you get a lot of leads and no one buys, like, is it really worth it? So making
Mhm.
sure that as a contributor, you are aligned with that bundle is very, very important.
Sorry. 1 second.
No worries.
I don't know who that is, but they're beeping. 2537. So sorry about that. But was that your last word on that?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, perfect. I'm obsessed with you. Okay, ready? Thank you. Okay, right back to sleep. Perfect. Let's go. Whew. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2. I loved your bundle. I opted in myself. That's how I came to discover you. A former guest on the show, Ashley of the Paid Ad Academy, was a part of your bundle. So I learned of your bundle opportunity, which was centered around your 40th birthday. I loved everything about it. The promotion, it was just delightful. I was very intrigued because you could see, even on the marketing side of things, there was such a beautiful step by step by step by step. I was met at every turn with new information. Nothing was stagnating from the page before. Like, it was beautiful. If you, well, you're going to have to wait till December now, I guess, for your next bundle, but that's okay. You're going to join Allison's newsletter. You're probably going to join her membership before then, but you'll get to take a peek at this bundle when you opt in at the next one, and it will be truly impressive. I loved the way in which you executed the bundle. It felt very much like I was in control of deciding, well, man, I didn't think I'd have to download 75 documents right now. I'm on my lunch break. Like, I have a recording in 10 minutes. Like, oh my God, I have to sit here and click, click, click. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, okay, okay. That's annoying. And your process was so seamless. I was able to do it in my own time. I had time to sit back and go through every offer and see if it was really something I wanted. Did I resonate with them? It wasn't just, a crapshoot and me saying, all right, well, I'll delete whatever I didn't like. Every single thing included in that bundle was grade A information, and most of it was delivered and executed in a way that I hadn't seen before. So overall, you had such a beautiful selection of people that were included in the bundle. I know that you were looking for a particular audience and a theme, but did you have any kind of stipulations for the way in which they kind of operated their business, or the way they were going to deliver the freebie for the certain period of time? Were there any kind of I guess container that you wanted them to kind of exist in to be a part of the bundle?
Yeah, so I researched everyone before I pitched them to be a part of the bundle, which is a ton of work. But I was like, if this is gonna work, then I need to, and my name's on it. Like, I need to make sure it's a relatively high quality situation.
Mhm.
Everyone had to provide something they normally would pay, like they normally would charge for. So it could be a $7, 27, 47. Didn't have to be like this $5,000 thing they're giving away for free.
Mhm.
But everybody had to provide something that they would normally pay for, so that we knew it was a higher quality product. And everyone had to send an email to their entire email list in order to be a contributor, because it's only successful if everybody does that. It's only
Mhm.
successful if everyone promotes and, adheres to the promotion schedule and does what they say they're going to do, because
Mhm.
that's the whole point of it, is that you're letting your audience know, hey, there's 90 free resources here right now. You can get them, or 90 resources here right now. You can get them for free right now, but you got to get in by this deadline. And then also like sticking to the deadlines. So like inevitably on the day after the like drop dead date for the bundle, someone always emails, always, 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 oh, I missed the deadline. Can I get, no, like you can't. Sorry. Like I'm a big fan of like, do what you
Yeah.
say you're gonna do. So like the deadline is hit. Sorry. And like that quite honestly made some people mad, but you have to like whatever. It's part of the deal. It's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
So just sticking with those sorts of boundaries and parameters, I think, are really important in something like this.
Oh, love it. 90 resources did not feel overwhelming. I'll be honest, it felt like Christmas morning. I
Well,
didn't
good.
know what topics, like what you had it broken down by, the different things they're focusing on, or maybe
Mhm.
like particular like tool they're using, meta or advertising was a focus. And I didn't even know what to expect in terms of what categories they were falling into. So as I'm scrolling, I'm like, ooh, 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 ooh. Like, it just kept getting more and more exciting. And it was fun for me because other than Ashley and you, I didn't know a single person on this list. And it's led to me finding 3 or 4 people I really, really like jived with. I'm listening to their podcast. I'm getting their newsletter now. I'm following them on Instagram. One of them has a YouTube I'm watching. So it was even cool for the aspect of being able to just not only get access to all of these people, but as you said, you did all that heavy lifting in that research period to bring together a group of people that do kind of check all the boxes and have that fulfillment of that branding so that the people that are coming to sign up for this, I would have given you 10 emails for the value of like what I got out of that. I would have paid for access to that bundle. And I also love the fact that within each, so we'll just give a brief description. You sign up. I came across an email from Ashley. She told me to click the link. I was like, cool, I love it. But first, I went to your Instagram. I was like, let me check out her Instagram first. I want to get to know her before I just wham right on in there. Like, what's she about? Let me see. I want to like see her content. Loved everything that you were doing. I was like, ooh, this is going to be good. So I was like, let me get over there. I clicked it from your page then, didn't go through Ashley, uh, just to see the funnel from like your start rather than her start.
Mm-hmm.
And then in your funnel start, I signed up. It was to celebrate your 40th birthday. You broke down what the rules were, how you could access. The cutoff date was very prominent. Guys, if you missed that cutoff date, shame on you because it was everywhere, literally everywhere. And
So many
then
emails
I
about it.
legit in the title, like, come on.
Yeah.
So I signed up and then was like, how's this going to get delivered? Because I've never seen it done the way you delivered it, which is why I'd like to like give a teeny little tidbit. So clicked in, I got access to just like the most gorgeous, what looked like a website page. And it was just do row 4 or 3 different categories. And each of them had a button to click. And I'd click the button and it would take me to their opt in funnel. It felt like I was going to their opt in funnel.
Mm-hmm.
You got my email for me getting access to all of these people. And then I can pick and choose who I want to give my email to on this page. It took maybe half an hour to go through all of them, but it was gleeful. I almost had to tell myself like, let's slow down. You don't want to go through this whole website. Like, this is exciting. Let's take our time. Like, what do we want to download? But that approach for me was, it made sense. It was so logical in allowing me to be the driver of my journey here. You don't want to shove free down their throat if they don't need it or they're not looking for that particular bit of help. And I absolutely loved that within that process, you had a little bit of, the option to add on a product before you checked out. So, can you tell us a little bit about what your tracker was for? Because that was so genius. I'm like, man, this is a really great idea to have this because with this volume of information that you're getting, you do need a little bit of help in keeping it all together. So, could you talk to us about why it's a good idea to have an option like that and then what that product was?
Yeah. So I'm always a fan of selling early on in anyone's funnel. My done for you clients, my funnels, bundles, all of that. I think it just creates that culture of like, I'm going to pitch you and I'm in business here. So after you opted in to the bundle, before you got access to all of the bundle gifts, there was a screen that popped up that advertised a $7 digital product. Super simple, nothing expensive. And it was a tracker. So what the tracker did was it had every single contributor. It was color coded by category. It had their like Instagram account. It had a description of the product, what the product was, a link to find the product, a testimonial link, and some other things I can't remember right this minute, but it was a Google Doc or a Google spreadsheet. And so when you bought it, downloaded it, it like auto copies. It has a force copy link. And so it just pops up there in your Google Drive. But it just allows you to organize your links better. So a lot of times people will like, they'll download something and then you'll get a panicked email like, oh my gosh, I can't find my thing. And like, where's the link and how do I do this? So it was supposed to like alleviate that. I always am a fan of like, if you can send less emails, that's great. Less back and forth emails, that'd be great. So it just gave people like, hey, if you want to organize your stuff better, like I've got it already organized for you. It's $7. And it was a pretty good no brainer for people. We sold, I think like 200 of them, which isn't like an insane number, like conversion rate, but I was like, all right, that's cool. Like we created a culture of buying with 200 people. Like, yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah. And I think it just goes to show that something as simple as a Google Doc that probably helped you on your end to organize before this went live, like just the repurposing, guys. I want you to think about that because there's so many things you may be using already on your own end that could be helpful to your customer if you kind of directed it in a different way or told them to utilize it in a different way. But I did really love that it was a complimentary add-on that truly made sense. You weren't also trying to take me in another direction of like, and when you're done with this, go here and like, let's worry about this. It was just, it felt like a courtesy. Like, hey, if you want this even easier, buy this, download it, you'll be good to go. I was so impressed with the quality of the materials that were coming in the freebie, and it ultimately just made me think more highly of you and what you were doing. The caliber of those that you worked with, that rising tide floats all boats, was so true because, mind you, I'd literally met you 25 minutes before this. So this was a very new interaction. And I'm a professional, I'm a publicist. Like I make brands and personalities and people love things. And like I just was like, here, let me climb into your lap. Like how can I like how can I become you? Like I will give you whatever my firstborn here. Like I love this. And that's so rare to come across. And it was really cool to then get to know you after now trusting you in the emails that followed after the bundle ended. So, could you tell us a little bit about what you like to focus on post campaign that keeps people interested beyond maybe whatever that very niche thing was that they were going for you or whatever the instance was? How do you keep that connection going between these big campaigns?
Yes. So post bundle, there's a couple of things that happen. So number one, the VIP contributors get solo emails sent to everyone in the bundle. So there's a series of emails that go out that advertises each person's thing and gives a direct link to it. The VIPs pay for that. That's like a feature of being a VIP. A lot of our people reported getting like 100 more opt-ins as a result of those emails. So for me, like, heck yeah, that's awesome. I'm really happy about that. I always try to also do some sort of live event post bundle. So for the 40th birthday bundle, we did the automated sales masterclass. No, sell on autopilot. Sorry, there we go. Sell on autopilot masterclass. While it wasn't like 100% related, I would argue the person who wants a six-figure business also probably wants to sell on autopilot. So usually I like the titles to be a little bit more connected, but I thought it was still a pretty good fit for that ideal client. So that gives me the opportunity to, because before I'm showcasing everything for everyone else, it gives me the opportunity to kind of be like, let me teach you what I do. And like, let's talk about how I can help you. And so it's just a great way to create that connection, to create that bond, and quite honestly, to sell more of my membership. Because again, ideally, these people are aligned and ideal for my membership. And then after that, it's a pitch sequence, a downsell sequence, and then they just get rolled over onto my email list. There are reminders that go out about like the bundle expiring when we get up to that deadline date. But other than that, that's it, but that's it. That's all. That's what we do.
Love it. And it's simple and it's succinct and it just gets the job done, which is perfect. I love your membership offering, and I love the fact that you have almost created this perfect entity for people to feel supported while still really being the one behind the driver's seat. And I think there's a delicate balance between done for you and do it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the hybrid model that you've given them within your membership is what most entrepreneurs would prefer, other than, hiring it out and that's someone else's responsibility. But walk us through the moment where you kind of decided you were ready to have this staple product. This is one of your primary focuses, if not your primary focus, the Funnel of the Month Club. How did that come to be your main product, and what were some of your early wishes when you were building out this particular membership?
Yeah, so I've had 3 memberships up to this point. 2 of them are no longer alive. And Funnel of the Month Club, I feel, is like the best expression of my expertise. So for me, what Funnel of the Month Club is like my brain just put into a digital form. So it's exactly what I do with my done for you clients. It's exactly what people ask me about. And it's exactly how I think about things and how I think about email marketing. So I wanted it to be my like only, it's like the only thing you can really enroll in these days with me. After just quite honestly kind of feeling burnt out with like live coaching. Cause I used to have a mastermind, I had a group coaching program. I had a bunch of other offers and I loved them. I met amazing people through them, but also like there were days where I wasn't exactly lit up about them anymore. And so again, for me, like I said this earlier, like if I'm not enjoying it, if it doesn't feel good, like I really like try to not do it anymore.
Mhm.
Um, so I got rid of those things or I put them on pause for a little bit just so I could focus more on growing the membership. I also know that I want like reoccurring revenue, like significant reoccurring revenue. I don't want to have to like launch a group program to like hit my money goals. I want to have that already built in and have like a group program be like a bonus. So for me, having the membership kind of checks all those boxes and it helps me to run my business in a way that doesn't require me to be 100% on all the time. It's a very like passive way of running the business, which I really enjoy because I have more white space in my calendar.
Yeah. Your membership is so robust, and I think there's a lot to be said about them starting with you and, in essence, starting from the ground up.
Mm-hmm.
I've joined memberships where, I joined in June, and like, some people, the program started in January and there was no way for me to backtrack. And, I had access to it, but now I've got 6 months worth of stuff I have to catch up on before now I'm supposed to keep up with where I'm currently at. And I think that was a really big dilemma for a number of, I guess, the last 2 or 3 years. I've tried a few different memberships, and that was always kind of the case. If you didn't catch that New Year's like jive to get in there, you're playing catch up. And it made me feel more overwhelmed than I already was coming for this particular thing I was looking for help on. So it is really cool, to me at least, that you let them start from day one when their day one starts, not the calendar year and kind of what you plan for your marketing. Was there any other conscious decisions that you made in the different tools and support items that are within the membership that you knew you wanted a particular way, that you didn't want to do what everybody else was doing?
Yeah, I knew I wanted the templates. For me, in my opinion, how I think about things, that's the most valuable part of the membership are the color coded plug and play templates that you can plug your information into and like it spits out an email for you. I think those really save our members time. It also helps them, like a lot of our members say, like for like sales emails, it would take them 3 hours to write one singular sales email. When they use the templates, it takes like 30 minutes, which is amazing because they can get on with their day. They can go do the other things that they need to do to grow the business. Because one of the things that holds our people back is time. They don't know what to say and how to say it. They don't know like how often email. So it like gives them those answers. It helps them get that resolved fairly quickly so that they can get it up and running so that they can start to see results quickly because that's what we want. We want them to see results fast. So that was really like the driver for the membership. Like, how can we help our people to see results faster than, what they're seeing results with now? How can we just focus on one thing? The one, like, the email marketing, email funnels? How can we just focus on that one thing instead of like a general membership for people in business? How can we get really specific as to what that is, how we help them? And then it makes, again, the decision-making process, yes or no, a whole lot easier because it's very singular, very
I
simple.
have to say too, like in discovering your membership and realizing it came with a template, is there a new template every month?
So yeah, so every 30 days when you get the new sequence, it comes with templates. So you get templates of the emails, you get the actual emails, you get a master class that explains the strategy. So you get the bigger picture strategy, and then you also get like the implementation.
Guys, let me just tell you something. You will never, and I'll say never because I'm certain, you will never find a better offer that is more affordable. Let's just say this, for the year's membership that you would get and the growth and the understanding that would come with this growth for you to then be able to know how to do it indefinitely with a year's worth of practice wouldn't even cover retainer to pay someone for 1 month just to write you maybe 3 or 4 emails. Understand the like immense landslide of value that is coming in this membership. And not only that, they have access to you via live Q&As. Is that correct? Is it once a month or
Yeah, we do what's called a get it done week. And actually it's this week or this month. So go into Slack on Monday. We talk every day through Friday. And it's just like identifying the thing that they need to actually get done so that they can move forward. So like somebody this week is like, I just want to batch my Instagram posts. And I was like, sweet, let's do it. For other people, they're like, I need to write my pitch sequence. Awesome. What's next? Like, what do you need to do? What do you need to change? What do they need to know in order to get that done? So it's just like looking at the thing that needs to get done and then doing the thing. So we do that. And then the portal has its comments open. So you can always ask questions in there. I'll respond back. But it's meant like, I don't want you to have to show up at a certain place and a certain time to get support because that's impossible for everybody to do.
yeah.
And like, I don't want to have another call on my calendar. So we have these like built in ways that are more passive for us to still support you in the membership.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And I actually really love too that for you on your end, with these recorded calls, you're then repurposing them into podcasts. And for anyone that has no idea who you are, comes across a show and gets to listen, they're hearing you giving feedback as a coach in a way that also allows them to know, like, and trust you almost immediately and be like, what's this membership about? I want access to this. Oh my gosh, it comes with a new funnel every month. Oh my gosh, I have access to asking questions and seeing what others are working on. Sign me up. Like, it's an immediate yes. I can't imagine it not being an immediate yes because any level of business owner has room within their email marketing and their email strategy to tweak and get more refined and focus more on the numbers and the output. I love that you're a numbers queen. I think it's so there's entry level email marketing and then there is letting people know why data is important and how you can play with the data. And I love that you give that access and you give that back end look because I think people can get overwhelmed with the thought of an email and then they're like, well, what's it going to do anyway? And it's like, well, in 2024 and moving forward, this is better than your brick and mortar and you better start treating it like it is because any day or week that goes by without a sales email or some type of nurturing sequence going out is a day that your doors were shut on your business.
Yeah.
It's insane to not give it all you've got and not get better at it because it's going nowhere. Okay. It's been here for 30 plus years. Allison and I have probably gone through 7 different popular platforms that have existed over the last 50. Like, it's going nowhere. It's only getting better and it's only getting more automated. But I really love that in the moment of AI do this, AI do that. Guys, don't fall for that trap. You know when you read an email made by AI. Don't scrimp on the most important part of your business. Allison is the only person that I would trust to educate me, a 15-year expert in PR and marketing, about email marketing. Okay. Like, we were blessed to have this conversation today. You guys were given an absolute masterclass in all things 2024 and beyond email marketing and sales. And I hope that this invigorated you to think a little bit more about how you can get more excited about this process for yourself. How can you make this part of your business one that you enjoy getting to? And I can guarantee when you have a funnel and a plan and support like you get with Allison and the Funnel of the Month Club, things are going to get more exciting. You're going to start to see traction. You're going to see numbers moving. You're going to see what other people are doing within the club, and you're going to see how it's working for them. And all along, you have someone at the helm that is literally still pivoting and growing and expanding for herself. And that will only continue to trickle down. I am just so impressed with your business. Thank you so much for pivoting and doing what you did and taking this direction, because you're helping so many business owners to just get real with it. We can ignore email marketing all we'd like, but all you're doing is sticking your head in the sand, guys. It doesn't have to be scary, and it absolutely will be fun with Allison and the Funnel of the Month Club, as well as just getting to be a part of receiving her bundles in the future. I guarantee you're going to be really enjoying that come December when that comes out. But I have a final question that I ask all of my guests, and can't wait to hear your answer. I know it's going to be juicy. Allison, how do you make your life rich?
Oh, how do I make my life rich? Ah, great question. Well, my business fits into my life. So, like right now, after this podcast episode, I'm going to go to lunch with my mom, and that's super fun. I love that. So, like, making, like, whenever I'm making decisions in the business, it's like, okay, like, what's the life? How is the life informing this? How is this going to buy me more of my life? How is it going to buy me back more of my time? How is it going to give me more time with my kids or my husband or with myself? Is this going to help me to hit not only my business goals, but more importantly, my personal goals? And knowing what they are is really helpful in that. But also, like, having that as like the guiding light has been massively helpful for me.
Oh, I love that. So beautiful. Thank you so much. You are a treasure. I'm so obsessed with you. It's still a new obsession for me, so I'll be stalking you forever and ever. And I can't wait to see what's next for you. And I'm so excited for this bundle in December. And guys, I'm going to have all the links in the show notes. Check out Allison's podcast. You have a ton of episodes to catch up on, and every one of them are worth your time. So work that into your daily podcast listening. And all of the links in the show notes will be available for you to get access to the Funnel of the Month Club. Check out her Instagram and everything you have going on. So thank you so much, Allison. This was great.
Thank you for having me, Sarah.